Hello, Aries. Welcome to your fall 2025 reading. My name is NiJiLL, and you have found alchemy. Okay, we are going to be touching upon September, October, and November of this year. We'll give you an overview of the entire fall up here. And when each month approaches, we're going to re-pull these cards and build an entire reading around them. So whatever we touch upon here, we're literally just touching upon, where there's going to be much more to your month, obviously, than these few cards. But let's get started right away here, Aries. You do have carnelian, and this is actually one of my favorite crystals. I collect it. I'm an avid collector of it, and believe it or not, it does represent Aries. It represents Mars. It represents Aries. I really enjoy the energy of carnelian. It is good for sex, vitality. It's good for the gym, working out, any kind of physical activity. Love that. Love the energy associated with carnelian. Now, what I've been telling everybody, depending on the stone that I choose for you, or that actually Aries chooses for itself, it's not an expensive stone. So if you go out and you buy yourself a small piece of it and carry it with you throughout the fall, it should help you get through whatever it is that's here on the table. And especially that it is so compatible with your sign anyway. It's a really good stone to have. The only caveat is that you really should buy it from a vendor that is completely trustworthy. And when I say that, I don't mean just trustworthy in that it's not from China. Sometimes, these Facebook groups, the crystal groups, the eBay, even Etsy, some of the Etsy stores, some of these people are legitimate. They're sweet. They're not trying to scam anybody, but they themselves get scammed. And so they're selling you something that they think is real, but it's not. So there's so many ways that you can get kind of screwed in the crystal community. So I would say go with a brick and mortar store that specializes in crystals, or if you have an online source that you 1,000% trust, then go with that. Okay, you do have the fog here. It says nebula fog, and this is number 34 in this deck. And this is Neptune energy, right? We always say Neptune is very foggy, very, it's not very clear when you're in a nebula, right? And so you can expect the fall to be, at least aspects of it, to be not very clear, not concise, not as clear as you'd like it to be. It doesn't mean every single day of the fall is going to be that way, but it is an overriding theme. So just keep that under your hat. You do have magical powers here, and this is number 24 in this deck, and it says, I weave and clear, I cast and I know magic secrets to me now show. Okay. Now, whether you believe in magic per se or not, magic is a power. It is you having the element of magic inside you. Now, when these specific cards come right side up in my readings, it means that is something you're going to have to search for. So you're going to have to search for your power. I do think carnelian will help you through this. Your power is present as an Aries, as a cardinal sign. It's always there. But, the magical powers that you need. And when I say that, it doesn't have to be woo-woo stuff. It could just be, the power you need to plow through your work. The power you need, that innate power that is sort of not something you can put your finger on. It's that spiritual thing that you need. All right. So just keep that under your hat. You're going to need something that comes from within to push you ahead. Okay. Now, what's interesting here is you have hookup and you have maiden, the maiden. And they're both coming out here. And of course, it's some sexual energy here. It wouldn't be an Aries reading without that. It does say one night stand, intimacy, casual relationship. It doesn't have to be that superficial. It just could be some highly sexual energy, because here in the maiden, it says a new relationship blooms or blossoms. So it does not have to be something superficial. It does not have to be something fleeting. It is something sexual for sure. And it is a relationship of sorts here on the table that is beginning here this fall. You do have something locked down. And it does say something about work, but in my opinion, this is you opening a brand new door. Do you see the key? Do you see the key turning in the lock and the lock opening? I do believe that you're opening a door, a brand new door, or a door that was previously locked to you. It may have been previously closed to you and you were unable to get through it, but now you'll find something unlocks very easily for you. And I like that. So going to the other side here, you have pulled two cards from the Saints and the Mystics deck. And they're both saints. One is Saint Paul and one is Saint Sebastian. Now, I usually take these figures pretty symbolically, right? St. Paul is good for sacred vision. So yeah, you're going to have something. And I put that with this magical power. I do think you're going to have visions. You're going, and when I say that, it's just something that comes from within that is unexplainable to you, that you're going to get the intuitive nudge with. And this also here is resilience. It's Saint Sebastian, and man, is this is total Aries energy, right? With that carnelian, you're going to feel unstoppable. You are. There are going to be some parts of your month that are unclear. There's going to be some parts of your month that are going to be a little foggy, but I have to tell you, not only are you going to push through true cardinal style, but you're going to get through it flying colors. But you do have, what's interesting about these two saints, other than what I already said, is that you have their feast days are both in January, and the odds of that happening in a reading are pretty slim. So I would say that whatever's on this table, there is something that's going to come of it in January for you, if that makes sense. You do have 19. I am a pioneer, and number 19, it breaks down to a number 10, right? So we'll keep that under our hats. That is Pluto energy for sure. And Pluto is the death and rebirth card. Yeah. So it says independence, self-sufficiency are necessities to you. Yes, absolutely, as an Aries. It says you are extremely capable in life and in work and aren't afraid to take big risks to achieve the life you desire. I am a pioneer for sure. Wow. And you have the card of Aquarius right next to this. What did I say? Pluto. Pluto is right now in Aquarius. It's going to remain there for many, many, many years. Look it up. It is way too heavy to go into, but it's a pretty interesting time. You may have Aquarius highly aspected in your chart. You may be dealing with an Aquarius, but this is number 11 in this deck. And you, being that 11 is a cardinal number and you are a cardinal sign, I can't help but believe that somehow is connected here. But the Aquarius, the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus and Saturn. They have two ruling planets. So definitely interesting energy. You have, let's see, sorry about that. You do have lunar eclipse, and it says culmination, release, right? And that's Pluto. That is definitely Pluto energy. It is a culmination. It is a release. And the lunar eclipse this fall is in September. It's around the 7th or the 8th, depending on where you live. And it is the total lunar eclipse around that time. So that the 7th and 8th might be very important to you. Something around that time, at least for the month of September. You do have here Leo in the 5th house. And Leo in the 5th house, it says fun, hobbies, and creativity for sure. And you may be dealing with someone with Leo in the 5th house, but there is something fun on the table. There is. And when I say fun, I really do believe it's some fun with another human being that you're going to, and listen, it's in your overarching energy. So it's not a fleeting thing. It's not something that's just going to happen and it's going to be meaningless and it's going to be pointless. Why would it be in your overarching energy? There is something big that's going to come from this. When I say big, does it mean you're going to get married? I don't know, but it's more than just a passing thing, for sure. I don't know what exactly it's going to lead to, but it is something rather important, at least for your fall. You do have here cardinal moon. It says, be bold and make the first move. You don't really have to tell an Aries this twice. And ironically enough, on October 6th, we do have a full moon in Aries. So you have October 6th. You have September 7th and 8th that has come up, and you also have January. So I would say write that down. There is stuff that's going on surrounding all these dates. Okay. We're going to start with September, obviously. Oh, look at this. Talk about Pluto energy. Damn. So you have the death card, right? And this is a Scorpion card. And it's traditionally plutonium, but in this particular deck, it is also a Mars card. So there is more of a connection here to Aries than normal. And we know that this isn't the absolute annihilation. In the tarot deck in general, we know the death card isn't, okay, you've been annihilated, right? This is not the last card of the deck, right? It is indeed the end of a cycle, the start of a new cycle, but it's a transformative time and a new chapter begins. And if you know, the ÄLKÖMＩ card is next after this, right? That temperance card. So keep that under your hats. There are 4 death cards in total in this deck. I'll throw them up how interesting are they, right? You have the Misery Collector. I think one is Rebirth, one is Santa Muerte, but you have pulled the traditional death card for your reading. Okay. You do have the Page of Swords coming in reverse. And, you know, the Page of Swords is Mercury and Gemini energy. And what's interesting about this card is you see the goat, right? So you may be dealing with somebody with Capricorn placements. Capricorn is also a January sign. And you also have the swan back there. So there is something going on with the swan. The swan is community. The swan could be a relationship. But in this particular aspect, the Page of Swords in reverse, Mercury and Gemini energy, communication is key here. Your words, Aries, could be misconstrued. Tread carefully. Sometimes Aries can say things without thinking, and sometimes the person receiving those words could take them at face value. And so it's almost like a warning. And I do feel that when you warn a cardinal sign, they take it seriously. I could warn certain other signs, I'm not going to mention who they are, and they would take offense to that. Oh, it's a negative reading. No, I don't think cardinal signs look at it that way. I think they kind of look at it like, oh, okay, thanks for the warning. I'm going to change this now. Period. End of story. So be careful of your words here. You do have the Seven of Pentacles coming in next. Saturn and Taurus energy. And as we know, the Seven of Pentacles is a harvest card, right? But it carries with it a bit of sadness. Do you see that crying figure at the top, the crying rose? Yeah, so there is a bit of sadness attached to this harvest. I'm really not sure what this is. When we expand upon your reading and we re-pull these cards, we'll get a really clear picture of it. But for now, we have the brown wolf on this card, and that brown wolf grounds you to trust in what the universe has in store for you. But there is some sort of sadness attached to this. And right here under this, you have the Hierophant coming in sideways. And you know, in my readings, as you probably know, if you've watched any of them, the sideways cards are choices in my readings always. And this is a card of Taurus. And you can tell on here, right? There is a bull, right? Clearly in the picture. So it is definitely, even in this Swedish deck, a card of Taurus. Now, this is a choice. Do you commit to something new, or are you going to stick with what you know? I almost wanted to say stuck. Are you stuck in an old way of thinking, or are you going to embrace a new way of thinking? This could be upright or reversed. All right, there's that. You also have two cards of Leo here in two different decks. You have the Strength card, and you have Sun, Strength, and Empowerment. I mean, if that's not a Leo card, I don't know what is, right? Because you have the Sun and Strength on one card. But here you have the Strength card, and this is pure Leo energy, and it's a major arcana. So this is the culmination of where you could expect to be at. Another Leo card, like, yeah, a lot of Leo energy in this reading. You will exhibit the strength that Aries is famous for, and Aries is famous for strength, just like Leo is. And definitely, I see the empowerment. I see the strength. I see the sun shining down on you. But I do see a bit of a struggle here, for sure. You just have to make sure your words match your heart. And say things softly if you need to say something that's on the difficult side here, for sure, okay? So when we add that everything up in September and we break it down, we get Neptune energy. We get that nebula energy. So things may not be as clear as we want them to be, but you have a really good outcome here if you play your cards right. So there is that Piscean energy here at your disposal here in September. Here in October, let's see if I can move everything out of the way. So as you know, or maybe you don't know, these larger cards I never take in reverse, but I do take note of them when they come in reverse. And this card did indeed come in reverse. And this is the Ace of Swords. And even in this deck, it is pure air energy. And we know that if it was originally found in reverse, right? There is clarity that was lacking, right? The sword, the Ace of Swords is clarity. It is sharpness. It is truth, crystal clear thinking, right? When it's in reverse, it's all the opposite of that. It is that nebula energy. So perhaps it dragged on a little into this month, but I have to tell you, you did flip it around. And this is encouragement. It's a new perspective. It's success. It's victory, stuff like that. You do have here the Knight of Cups in reverse. And the Knight of Cups in reverse is that Neptune and Scorpio energy. And usually it's Neptune and Pisces, but you can clearly see the scorpions at the bottom of that bowl, right? Or cup, as you would call it, at least in the tarot. It's depicted as a Centaurus being ridden by our knight. And the cup encased in scorpions, right? It could be a missed or withdrawn offer. You could have put an offer in to something, or somebody could have put an offer into you, and it is something that you're rethinking, or they are rethinking. And you do have here the Seven of Swords coming in reverse, and Uranus and Gemini energy. Normally I would say Uranus and Aquarius energy, but you can see the twins, right? You can see the two people. So in this deck, it is Gemini energy, and you have two people, problems between two people are resolved. So perhaps you start the month pulling back an offer or being rejected in some way, but it looks like there's this sort of truth says cut through all the BS, right? And honest and clarity does prevail. You have the Knight of Swords coming in sideways here, right? Mercury and Gemini energy. And this is depicted by a chariot driven by Helios, the Greek god of the sun, right? I mean, even though it's the Knight of Swords, there's some Leo energy attached to this, for sure. You could be dealing with somebody with Leo placements, but it's an unstoppable force, right? What are you going to decide? Are you going to decide to get on that chariot and move forward really quick and be that unstoppable force? Or you're going to decide to put the brakes on? I don't know. But here you have the Hanged Man in reverse, and I like that. That is Pisces, more Piscean energy, but you know, more than that, it is changes is on the horizon. There's change on the horizon. You're not at the end of the day, you are not going to just sit and allow something to happen. You're not going to pull back from it. I really think that most of you are going to forge ahead because fate has intervened. What did I say up here? Somewhere up here. I think it's over here. Your intuition, that thing inside that drives us, is going to kick in. There may be some detours here in October, but I have to tell you, at the end of the month, you're going to be crystal clear about what you want. And I like that for you, for sure. Really nice energy here. When we add all the numbers up in October and we break them down, we do get sun energy again. That's that Leo energy. So as much of a nebula as you might come into the month with, that sun is going to shine on this. And I love that because you have the sun god here. You have more Leo. I don't know. There's a lot of Leo energy here. A lot of Leo energy. Pretty interesting and pretty cool, actually. So let's move on to November. Okay. So you have the Knight of Wands, right? That Wands is that fire energy. In this deck, it's called fire and air, right? There's no astrological association with this card. And in this deck, this card advises you to control your fire. This knight has a huge ego with an inclination towards conflict. He is a person, especially in this deck, right, who acts before he thinks. What did I say over here? Really give some thought into everything you say and do this fall. I really think it's going to matter. It is definitely going to matter here. You have the Eight of Wands. The Eight of Wands in reverse, Jupiter and Sagittarius energy, delays, setbacks, missed opportunities. It's time to reassess your priorities, okay? You do have here the Six of Pentacles. Look at that. You can see the pull clearly on there, right? The Six of Pentacles is Moon and Taurus energy. And you can see everything there, huh? Interesting. Moon and Taurus energy. It's a power card, no matter who pulls it, and it's rooted in something very earthy and stable and grounded. So there is something positive happening from this. You just really need to control your temper, you need to control your impulses, and you need to control your words. Do that this fall, okay? It's really important. You do have here the Ace of Pentacles coming in sideways. The Ace of Pentacles is pure earth energy, and you need to make a choice. Obviously, this is a sideways card. Look at these sideways cards every single month. It's not typical here, Aries. So you have this sideways card. Make a choice for you. Step away from this fire that this knight holds and into this earth possibility, this stable. Make a decision from there. Okay, it's really important to make a decision from there. You have the Empress in reverse here, and this is Taurus Libra energy slash Venus energy, right? It is fertility, right? There is something that the ground that you are sowing here is not fertile if you're going to put your temper and your impulses ahead of you. It is time to, whether you have earth in your chart or not, become grounded in earth energy to make the best possible decision. Otherwise, you may regret some of the things that happen. Again, there's not many signs that can handle warnings. And I think out of all the signs, the cardinal signs, especially Capricorn and Aries, really do handle warnings well because they can change their future. And things may feel unclear, but as long as you try to keep a lid on your impulses, I think you're going to do well in this situation. Okay? We have these three cards here, and this is September, October, and November. And I am going to pull one card to say which month is the most important to your longevity, which is going to have tentacles into your future. November. Interesting. A lot of people have pulled November. And I could see that. I could see this being very pivotal for whatever situation this is. There is a situation in particular that keeps coming up over and over again. Now, as far as your numbers go, we add up all the numbers in this reading and we break them back down. We get Mercury, right? We get number 5, which is Gemini, Virgo energy. What is Mercury? It's communication. Your communication this fall is going to be uber important to the outcome of anything that's going on, especially in your personal life. Okay. The planet, let me see, the planet that came out the most here is Saturn. Saturn is Aquarius's ruling planet. Yes, it's Capricorn's ruling planet as well. It is the planet of lessons, karma. Now, as far as the signs go, you have Taurus and Leo neck and neck. You have a lot going on here this fall. You really do, more than most. But Taurus is pure Venus energy. Venus is love and money, right? And you have Leo energy, which came out over and over again here, which is that sun shining down on you through this nebula here. And the number that came out the most was number 7, which is this energy, this confusing Neptune energy that we spoke of. Now, as far as signs go, you have Capricorn, Scorpio, Gemini, Pisces, Aries, Leo, Aquarius, Libra, Sagittarius, and Taurus. So to recap just a little bit, you have that Saturn energy, which is lessons and karma and things that are coming around and maybe some work. You also have Neptune, which could be a little confusing, at least at times this month. You have Venus, which is your love life, and it also your money. And you have the sun, which is going to cut right through that Neptune energy and shine what you need to see. You just have to refrain from your mouth getting ahead of your brain. Okay, if that makes sense here, Aries. Look to November for some really life-changing energy. I wish you all the best, and